I'm doing my presentation on places to get genetic testing within Michigan. The first place that I looked up is Henry Ford Hospital. They do a vast amount of genetic screens and tests. A large amount of the genetic screening that they do is in preconception and prenatal genetics, as well as newborn and pediatric genetics, so types of evaluations for developmental concerns and syndromes. In addition to genetic screenings for newborns, they also do ancestry-based inherited diseases, diseases such as Tay-Sachs that have genetic markers. They also do screenings for certain cancers that have genetic markers. Mainly breast and ovarian cancer have distinct genetic markers that can be screened for, and if patients figure out whether they have this certain genetic predisposition to the disease, they're more likely to get screenings at earlier ages in life. In addition, they do screens for inherited blood disorders, neurogenetic diseases such as Huntington's, and other diseases such as any metabolic disease that's genetically related. Henry Ford locations that do these genetic screenings are the downtown Detroit location, as well as Sterling Heights and West Bloomfield Hospital. Beaumont Children's also does similar testing to the pediatrics that are done at Henry Ford. So they'll screen for any chromosomal abnormalities, major birth defects. They will also do prenatal screenings to ensure high-risk pregnancies, to make sure that there are no known genetic defects before giving birth. They also counsel to promote these informed decisions if, in fact, the genetic disease is found. Beaumont's Children is located in Royal Oak, and that's where they do the genetic screening. Next is the University of Michigan, and they also do a variety of genetic screenings. The first, again, is the Breast and Ovarian Cancer Risk Clinic, and they also do prenatal and perinatal genetic screening in addition to pediatric genetics. And once again, they also screen for neurogenic diseases. This is located at the University of Michigan. There are also a clinic in West Michigan Cancer Clinic, and this is in Kalamazoo. The large amount of this genetic screening, as in the name, is at their cancer clinic. So they do a full workup on the age that you're getting the screen, the things in your environment that might lead you to be more inapt to develop cancer, as well as the family history. And then they also do a genetic screen. So they talk about heredity in cancer, and they give certain markers that are more likely to make a patient contract cancer. So cancer before the age of 50, 2 or more different cancers, rare cancers, and parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and siblings with the same cancer are more likely to have a patient inherit cancer by a change caused in a single gene. Another place that does genetic screening within Michigan is the DMC, and they're partnered with Wayne State University at the medical campus. And they do a vast amount of genetic testing, including biochemical genetics, which tests for inherited metabolic disorders, the cytogenic laboratory, which tests for prenatal diagnosis, mental retardation, infertility, etc., the molecular genetics diagnosis laboratory, which does a lot of inherited genetic disorders, in addition to the immunogenics, which deals with renal, pancreas, cardiac, and bone marrow transplant programs. Lastly, there are vast amounts of places online that will do genetic screening. So 23andMe was one of the websites that I researched. They will send you an online kit in the mail. You send the sample away, it's just a cheek swab, and they send the results back to you. So they'll give you a full workup of specifically what type of cancers, what types of genetic markers, what types of things you may have to screen for more in depth as time goes on. So in summary, I wanted to sort of talk about the pediatric genetic screening, because it seemed to be a major focus of most of the sites in Michigan. So a poll asked 1,461 adults with children from the ages of 0 to 17, and they asked about their interest in getting personal genetic screenings for their children and the reasons why. And the poll found that 53% of parents are either very or somewhat interested in personal genetic screenings for their children, and of those, 96% thought it may give them a chance to prevent diseases. So it's very interesting, and it seems to be an up-and-coming field. Next, I just want to examine the handout that I had given you, and I just kind of gave a small outline as to the process of getting a genetic screening. So if you can just turn your attention to that. This is directly from Henry Ford's website. So before the appointment, they give you a little bit of information as what to expect. You may be asked about your family history, so you need to come with records to the appointment in order to give them a chance to review anything that would be necessary. As well, during the appointment, there are things that you can be expecting. And they also gave a note about insurance, that there are a vast amount of insurance companies that are beginning to cover genetic screenings. If you turn the page, I just gave an overview of one of the major cancer clinics, the Kalamazoo, West Michigan clinic. This is a cancer screening brochure that they give as you're entering into the genetics program. So it's sort of interesting and just a nice outlook as to what actually gives you or makes you more susceptible to certain types of genetic cancers. The last handout is from Henry Ford, and it's the request form. So it just sort of gives you an example of the types of screens and testing that they can do, as well as the information that they find pertinent to your genetic screen.